Paul.
Hi, Abby.
It's great to see you.
So good to see you.
We had the honor of meeting. We finally met. It was kind of weird that we had never met before.
Yeah,
We both kind of went down the acting road at one point,
yeah.
have a very deep passion for storytelling,
hmm
and are Jewish women in LA.
Yeah, we have
And
same
like,
friends, same,
yeah,
I mean, what do
so
we do?
weird. I
How
know.
how how were we not in the same audition rooms?
You know?
You told your story on stage about like running into the same person in the doctor's
Yes.
offices that you're auditioning with, and I'm like, was it me?
Right. Luckily,
Right,
it wasn't in that case.
exactly. Exactly.
But it is odd, isn't it?
Well, I guess we were just meant to meet now.
I think we were. I think we were. So we got to meet through Storyectomy, which is why don't you explain? You'll do a way better job than I will. What is Storyectomy?
I don't know. Like, what's funny is almost wanting to make someone pitch you back to you.
Well, the way that I interpreted it when I first saw it was like
Yeah.
ectomy is to get something out,
Uh-huh.
hysterectomy, mastectomy.
Uh-huh.
So storyectomy is getting your story out.
Yeah, isn't it great that the log line is get your story out? I feel like I
Yes.
accurately did that one. That was a good one.
That was a
Yes.
really good one.
Mhm.
Did you trademark it? You should.
No, do you have a trademark? But no, I need to.
I have a person.
Oh, good. That's not
Yes.
hard. Leave it to a Jewish mom. I got a person.
I
That's
know.
okay. Something up with your person.
But how did this come to you even? How did Storyectomy come to you? And then I want to go into
Mhm.
we did it at your incredible place called The Crow. So I want to then go to how The Crow came to you and came to everybody else.
They both overlap, so it's actually same story.
Great.
I don't know if your listeners might be able to relate, but anyone come from trauma, childhood trauma?
Your trauma, we can get into that too, is exceptional trauma. But yes,
Well,
yes,
everybody had listen, and this is the sad part. If you didn't have it as a child, and you'll get it later. Like I
right.
hate to say it, like if you're lucky enough to live long enough, you're going to go through some stuff. And some people go through it at a young age, and it may come in lots of different shapes and sizes. It was in my formative years. It was in my teenage years. I'm very open about it, and I always like to start the story by saying my mom is alive and well, and is literally the greatest person I know. And she was a strong, also Jewish mom, working, single, doing everything she could, professional, that whole thing. And she married a very abusive man because most therapists like to try to fix people. And
Wait,
she
is your mom
really,
a therapist?
oh yeah, that
My
too.
mom's a therapist too. I forgot we had that. I think we might have talked about that. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
And also, like, I'm like, I would love to know a study now. How do children of therapists
Yeah,
turn
yeah, they I think they say we're the most messed up, don't they?
I don't know. Can I just sidebar on this? Because I was thinking about this morning. So my 13-year-old son, he asked to go to therapy. And it was like, if a 13-year-old boy asks you to go to therapy, I'm like, mommy's done a good job. Like,
Yes,
he
thousand
knows how to
percent.
communicate. He needs his needs. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's always been like the easy kid. So I was like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. So I'm like, I will spend all my mom's money for you to go to therapy. So let's do it. So I hook him up with a therapist and he comes back. I'm like, what do you think? And he was like, I hated it. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, the whole time she just kept interrupting me and going, how'd that make you feel? How'd that make you feel? And I was like, oh, he's like, I can't even complain. And I was like, well, what did you think you were going for? And he was like, not to listen to someone who sounds just like you.
Ah,
And then I was like, the child of a therapist, he is living in the vortex. Like he thought he was going to go just finally be able to rant to
right.
whoever. But
Mm,
no, the
nope.
problem is all I do is still go, tell me more.
Yeah. Oh
It's
my
terrible.
gosh. Well,
I'm so
also,
annoying.
I hope you find him a good therapist because I feel like there's hope out there. You could find one.
It wasn't her. I think I was like, oh no, I think you just wanted a friend.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, go talk to Silas. Okay.
Right. Right. Silas will be your therapist.
He's so much cheaper. I pay him in Dr. Pepper and pizza every Friday. Like, just
Perfect.
keep complaining to him.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so back to that.
Okay.
So, yes, childhood trauma. My amazing mother wanted to save someone, and they ended up, he was very abusive. She couldn't keep covering it up. He ended up having a complete nervous breakdown, life altering, and a psychotic breakdown. Like everybody has nervous breakdowns. Everyone's going to have a couple midlife crisis. This was with someone who's diagnosed or at that time undiagnosed, but now psychotic. That level of diagnoses.
Mm.
Okay, he went off the beaten path and turned to crack, and brought it home, and my mother trying to save him ultimately ended up, after months of that, grabbing the pipe and saying, then let me try this. And in a minute, well, literally in seconds, her problems all went away. And me, the teenage daughter, took on being a mom and trying to do the best I could to raise my little brother. And we lived in a crack house, and I went to college, and I had to drop out and raise my brother, and yada, 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 yada. Everyone's got a story. Okay.
Yours, for the record, somewhere, somehow, people will find the full version and it's worth listening to. It's
Thank you.
really a good story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to heal from that
Yeah.
until as a child, like kid who always loved theater and being on stages and making people laugh and like wanting to do that, but knowing like, well, it's not going to make a living. It was a passion that I didn't think I'd ever pursue because of my fear of failure. But while I went to college, I got a degree in education for safety and then a theater degree. And I was, needed to do something, and I ran into my complete obsessed mentor. Like, the celebrity that you obsess over. Who's yours, by the way, Abby? Who's your number one celebrity
God,
crush for your
I mean, I feel like it's changed. At this moment, it's Catherine Hahn.
Oh, and by the
Like,
way, have you ever been to Kenneth Hahn Park? Because I want to
yes,
rename it that. I
that's
think
so smart.
I think
I
it
mean,
should be
but growing up, like your person who I think you're going, I think I know what who you're saying. Like that's in my 20s, that's not who it was.
okay.
But like now, or like Mary Louise Parker, right? Like I feel like I'm
Ooh,
embracing older.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I could go back through the decades of my life and tell you the different ones. But I think where you're going with yours, and makes a lot of sense.
Mine, yeah, because basically in the 90s, I wasn't the
Yeah.
only one obsessed with Jennifer Aniston on Friends.
Yes. Yes.
And I wanted to be like her, and I ran into her. And yes, that's crazy. And of course, if you run into your celebrity crush, that's been your celebrity crush forever, and you're an aspiring actor, and you get the balls to ask them for advice, and they give it to you, and they tell you to do a one-woman show, you're now totally fucked and have to do a goddamn one-woman show.
I love
But
it.
I was not capable of. It turns out everyone's capable of everything, but that seemed totally daunting. But if you're one person tells you to do something, whether you believe in signs or not, like you have to do it.
1000%.
And I dedicated my life like 2 years in the making when I was in my mid 20s, and I did this one woman show on my mother being a crack addict. And what I didn't know I was doing was working it every day, processing it every day, I brought my mother had sobered up at the time, and I brought her over and I would read her 10 pages at a time.
Mm.
And what I didn't know I was doing was getting my story out for me, in the most soothing, cathartic way. And because when you write a story, if you do it from a place where there's a beginning, middle, and end, and you're going to try to come full circle, I think one of the most powerful things is finding other perspectives. And I had to work to see, well, how did this happen to my mother? So what I didn't know was by the end of the show, it ended up being a story of how I forgave my mother.
Mm.
And at that time, 6 years after the incident, I was so angry. When I started writing it, I could barely speak to her. I could just take sushi dinners from her. By the end of the run, right, 2 years of prep, renting a theater, performing it for 2 years, taking it to New York, doing it in fringe festivals, after standing on stage, doing hundreds and hundreds of performances, her hiding from it, her being embarrassed by it, her asking me to change her name and her profession and her picture on the cover, and always doing that. When I gave my final bow, and out of the blue, all of a sudden there was someone on stage next to me. And it was my mother. I I'll tell you what was interesting. The words that flew out of my mouth, because you can't pre-plan anything. All I said was, "Isn't she so beautiful?"
Mm.
Because she had been so sick and so tiny and so frail. And she was so full of life. And she was willing to stand in front of everyone and say, it's me. And to carry that shame and to tell that story. And for me,
Mm,
it changed me. It made me forgive my mother. What I didn't know then was that then later, when I was lucky enough to have children of my own, I had to go through it again with her and go, oh, wait, look at this is the baby. This is now I have a baby. I got angry again,
mm,
but I was able to reprocess. And so for me, storyectomy, getting your story out, the process is healing for the individuals that are telling the story. But I will say that once I stood on that stage, I started touring it at all these different drug and alcohol rehab centers and living sober living houses. I promises and you all the ones that are really cool. They're
mhm,
amazing. And I would take my little boom box back in the 90s and perform this show. And then you realize you're the cathartic experiences for them.
mm,
So the healing property of what I want to do is finding this art form in a way that shares your perspective, gives someone else that passive, but like I get, isn't it passive? Like it's a passive way to heal is by healing something relatable. Like you can cry at someone else's story that's close to you. I don't know. It's
mhm.
everything to me.
No, I think
So
the power of storytelling is being able to see yourself in someone else's story
yeah,
in some way, for
in
sure.
some way. And when you normalize it and you just I don't even know what to do with all these feelings. And so they get out. So then, yes, I wanted to open up a space, a comedy club. I'd been a comedian for the last 15 years and just went like, I need a comedy club that is run by a woman, is for women and highlights queer people and people of color and
Hmm.
women. It's crazy. And then invented Storyectomy because those were where my roots came from. And then I wanted different themes, and one of them was specifically for me. I suffered from terrible postpartum depression, and it completely influenced my relationship with my daughter, who's now 16. So I really wanted to have one Storyectomy that was about maternal mental health, and that is how I got to meet you.
Yes.
You were in the class, and we're amazing.
Thank goodness. I mean, it was such a string of happy coincidences that I was accepted and found that class and all the things. I have a very important question about your one woman show. Did Jennifer Aniston come see it?
No.
Okay. We have got to put this out there. If we can get to her, you have to do it again. That's my one request. Will you?
No.
No, you're like, I'm done.
It was so hard. I remember thinking I'll never do this. 90 minutes. Word for it took 6 months to memorize.
I mean, when we worked together, I did a set or a story that was, I think, 6 minutes, maybe
Uh-huh,
seven.
uh-huh.
And it took like 8 weeks and I didn't memorize it. So I can't even imagine. One woman shows scared the crap out of me. I'm so impressed that you did it. So, okay, you're like, I want comedy. I want BIPOC women, The
Mhm,
Crow. Can you tell
mhm.
me the story of the name?
Comedy reflects our world.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm definitely
Yeah.
titling this episode that.
Oh,
Comedy reflects our world. I didn't know because inside the crow space, there are a lot of crows. And I was like, oh, she has some weird thing with crows. I don't know. That's amazing.
story comes from actual crows, but my husband slash partner, business, all the things, sex, play toy, whatever you want to call it. I mainly assistant. That's mainly
Yes.
what he is, my
Yes.
personal
Smart
assistant.
man. Yeah.
Very smart man. He loves a good, what do you call those? Those letters with I don't know, a word that stands for something.
Oh, an acronym?
Okay, he loves a good
Yeah.
acronym.
Okay. I don't know if
I
that's
was
right.
going to call it the crow because of an actual experience that him and I had with crows. And he was like, yes. And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I know.
And anyone living in LA, you must check out The Crow. So you tell us the other storyectomies you've done. You did maternal mental health, you've done unhoused
Yes.
people.
That was that I gotta say, that was one of the most strongest because listen, I took a group of coincidentally, they were all women who had previously been homeless and lived in Temescal Canyon, or one of them literally her pillow was a parking lot spot on the Vons on Lincoln and Colorado. The
Oh my
Vons is
God.
gone. And these women had never. been given this type of a like mentorship in storytelling, and also without an objective, like, no, no, just get your story. You know,
Mm,
that you're not speaking on a platform for another organization, you know,
right.
like, what do you want to say? Um, but it was the most, I'll tell you this, if you were in the audience for that night, you won't be able to not lock eyes with an unhoused person ever again.
Mm,
It was the most humanizing way to realize that anyone can get there.
mm.
It was,
I'm really bummed I had to miss that one, but I hope you do it again. I hope you do that theme again. Tell me other themes you've done.
so Cancer. I've done 4 seasons of
Yes.
Cancer, and it's amazing.
Hmm.
Because also what I'm always looking for in these cohorts is that there's 10, you know, I select up to 10 people to be in the class. And it's, by the way, it's free. I get all of these.
You're amazing.
Thank
She gets
you.
grants, she gets funding,
Yes, all those things.
and yes, it's incredible.
I am a nonprofit. ComedyReflectsOurWorld.org is our website.
Okay. We will link out to it, of course.
Beautiful. Um, what was I saying? I think I'm premenopausal.
I am. We could talk about that in a whole nother episode. You were saying you've done 4 cancer shows, so they're all free.
And I always look for very different angles. So at each one of the cancer ones, I've always had a doctor in it. Um,
Mm,
so that all of the different perspectives we're getting. So the show at the end, which always is a fundraiser for some sort of org. So for cancer, we've partnered with the American Cancer Society. And so all the money goes to them. And for that, RadNet, which is if anyone needs to get their mammogram and all the imaging, go to RadNet. They're the best. They pay for this for the
mm,
cancer one. But hearing from a doctor's perspective who has to tell the worst news every day to someone,
mm,
I really wanted to hear how their mental health was.
mm.
And it's been interesting to have them in the class with someone who's actively dying or is a mom with a baby who is suffering. You know, so it's
Oh my
been
God.
for me to witness these rooms, for me to even, I mean, I know I'm like, yeah, I created it, but like, who am I to be in the space to even do
Mm.
this? You know, like, I just feel really privileged.
You
I do. I
are,
do.
but you're big. You're so big. You're so big. Like you just have a big, you are a visionary. You see a vision and you chase it and you go. And I think your Jennifer Aniston story, if nothing else, proves that that's true. And same with taking care of your mom for better or worse, that trauma with a capital T
Mhm.
was,
Mhm.
formed you. Um, I know you have a history with reproductive health
Mhm.
advocacy, I should say, or also just getting your story out. So can you talk to me about your history there? And if you want to go more into your postpartum, you're welcome to, because I don't know if any of that is related.
Listen, I mean, my I feel like right now with everything that's going on politically, I would I am the mom now. I'll say this. When my daughter was feel like end of middle school, you know what I mean? Like before they get to high school.
Hmm.
Um, and she was having some sort of a slumber party, and I knew all the kids well. And I went up to them and I was like, look, I don't want to get weird, but I just want you to know that if anything happens in the future and you get pregnant and you need someone to talk to and you're not comfortable talking to your parents, I just want you to know here's my cell phone number. Like I want to be able to give you that out. I want you to have a phone number that you could call me at any time in case and I remember all of the girls were like, "Oh my God, thank you. I'll take your number." And then like the one little girl that is like the one that pierced her own ears and farted so much, she's like, "Can I have your number too?" And I was like, "No." But someone else, yes, no. It's like my phone's gonna be ringing off the hook with this one.
Yeah.
But no, I need these kids to know. Like
Hmm.
my mom was the one who took my best friend to get an abortion in high school.
Mm,
And
that's a
I
story.
was,
Yeah.
she, you know, it's interesting that that best friend of mine, who's still a very close friend of mine, is now an abortion doula.
Mm, yes.
And it's really kind of interesting to think that like she's now working in that space and didn't have that with her family, and that my, you know, hippy dippy therapist mom was able. So like I'm like, we need to talk about it, you know?
1,000%. That's her trauma. I mean, similar to the work that I do. I went through it. It could be gone through so much better. And and then I created my business. Same with her abortion. I mean,
Uh-huh. Yes.
Amazing. Okay. So I know at some point there was a social media post of you and your darling husband. You guys have been together forever since he was part of the helping you through
Yeah.
the crack
Yeah.
house phase.
Yeah. I've been with him since I was 18. So yes, we had our first abortion together. Not to brag.
Yeah.
But and that was
Abortion sweethearts.
yeah, we were. And
Yeah.
it was complicated because I knew I was going to marry him, but I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really selfish and I felt really confused.
Mm.
And I was already in the middle of raising my brother while my
Right.
mother, it was such a weird, I was like, I already have a brother that's a baby. I'm already
And you're
parentified.
taking care of your mom. I mean, so you were shocked. Did you know right away when you were pregnant, we're going to terminate this pregnancy? Or were you like, what do we do? Or were you guys on the same page about it? How did you talk about it?
That's such a good question. Um, it was interesting because the moment that I was in like, first of all, I was at a Jesuit Catholic university that I had to transfer to because it was local so that I could like take care of my mom. So that was like I was at LMU, Loyola
Mm,
Marymount, and the healthcare clinic. I was like, why did I miss my period? This is so weird. And
mm.
like he just said, so that you get tested. And he was like, you're pregnant. And just it was as if a faucet, like of tears, like
Just turned on.
turned on. And so I knew, no, I'm not. I mean, there was no right, but like, should I don't, I'm and I'm with the guy I'm going to marry. And he was waiting outside and he looked at my face and he was like, okay. And we sat on the bluff. There was like this, I don't know if you know the Marina Del Rey, but there's like benches and there's a bluff. And I remember sitting on the bench and crying. And he was like, whatever you want to do, we'll do. And it was really interesting because my first instinct was to call my mother, and she
Mm,
was so strung out. And we were barely having conversations that made sense. And she couldn't, I remember I used to have to go to her house to have her sign my financial aid forms, and
mm.
she was shaking. She couldn't do it. I called her in the midst of this whole time. She answered the phone, and I said, Mom, I'm not lying. She immediately said, You are pregnant. I will help you. It's bizarre. And I went, What? She goes, I hear it in your
Oh
voice.
my God.
I don't want you to worry about a thing. We'll take care. It was the only time in her crack haze that she absolutely showed up for me.
Wow. And like with lucidity. Like
I
she
mean,
was,
completely. I mean, completely.
wow.
Bizarre. It was
Wow.
bizarre. So interesting. And so it was. It was my mom, my drugged out mom, and my husband. Um, and yeah, I remember the process. I remember them being like, "Do you want to go?" What was it? Was like a twilight slip. First of all, now we're talking 20 something years ago,
Yeah.
20 24 years ago. So
Yeah.
it was bizarre. I don't know. It was awful. I don't know about you, but like all I kept thinking was, I hope it's not a girl.
Yeah. You want to dissociate from the person that it is in a lot of ways.
Because I really wanted a girl, and I was like, what if
Yeah.
this is ruining
Yeah.
my chance of ever getting pregnant again?
Right.
What if I'm cursing myself? Um,
I think those are all very normal thoughts. I think a lot of people go, especially the like, what if I'm cursing myself down the road?
right.
You
And
know?
that freaked me out for a really long time. What if it was like, what if this is like a hanger and is causing damage?
Mhm, exactly. Because I
Uh-huh.
think that's what we grew up thinking it was like for so long.
Right,
Even though it's nothing like that, we still imagine that that's the result that you
right,
get.
right.
When you were pregnant with your daughter, did you know it was a girl?
I found out back then we had to wait 5 months at the 20
Oof.
week, which felt
Oof.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So I waited, and then I remember getting the news that it was a girl. And I remember asking the doctor, I was like, Are you sure? Can I really celebrate? He goes, If I'm wrong, I will come repaint the room. And I said, We're gender neutral. It doesn't matter.
And did you think when you got that good news, did you think about your abortion?
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I'll even send it to you if you want to link it. I wrote a story about it for the Risk podcast, and
Okay.
they do live shows. And they wanted Halloween stories. And I had this really interesting feeling that after I had my daughter, there was, I don't know about like, see now I'm kind of spoiling, spoiler alert, but I loved my grandfather. Like I hated my grandmother. She was totally awful, but my grandfather was the sweetest. And I was kind of sad he never got to see my kids.
Yeah.
And I had this like little tiny pink sparkly nightlight next to the crib. And I would rock my daughter every night. We'd always read and kiss and whatever. But there was this one night that the light kept turning off and on. And she kept turning around in my lap and reaching for the center of the room and like laughing hysterically. And I was like, okay, who are you talking to? Oh, what's up? And then finally I was just like, there's a ghost, like, so I did what every good mother would do. And I put her in the crib and I ran out the room. Ghosts aren't going to hurt a baby.
No. Yeah.
And it went on for like a year and a half. And I was 100% sure that like it was probably my grandfather or whatever. And then years later, and the story is like kind of nice in this thing, but I ran into the hottest mom at a playground. Do you ever attack other moms at playgrounds? You're like, I would be friends with you.
Of course. Like, what's the fun of going if you're not going to attack?
No, and I just need to find someone to help me ignore my child.
Yeah.
And who can I push next, stand next to at a swing set?
Totally. Right.
So she was really hot. She looked very cool. And it turns out, of course, she was a medium and talked to ghosts. And she was like, let me
Of
give you a sec.
course.
Of course, it was LA. Who
Yeah.
else was I going to be at a park that looked totally cool? So I got a reading from her and it was with my husband, Mickey. And she was like, hey, is there anything that I should or shouldn't say in front of your partner? And I was like, no, go ahead. She's like, there's a ghost here trying to communicate to you.
Mm.
And for what, and like it was like my grandfather and and she's like, there's another, then she was like, can I say something? She's like, there's another one. And I was like, oh, what's that? And she was like, did you lose a child or a baby
Oh, wow.
born? And I went, yes. And she said, well, she's been watching you put your children to bed at night and wants to say thank you. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I eat that kind of shit up. I'm
Do
like,
you?
yes. Remember that story that I told about the my friend who's the good witch who had to help me get my, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm so
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Whoa,
So
Nicole.
that for me was some of the most cleansing experience for it. I wasn't expecting it and I'd clocked it away, whatever. But it
Whoa.
gave me a big release. And I
Yes.
think that was when I stopped grieving. And whatever. And then I wrote a story about it and I, put it out there and it made me feel like it's all the process.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That I love that story. I think too, you know, knowing it, knowing or thinking that it was a girl, whatever, like however attached you get to it,
Yeah,
I never was attached in my way. I always, because I think it's from acting stuff until I'm on set, I don't believe I booked the job.
totally.
Until my child was on this earth, I didn't believe it was really going to happen. And so I had three losses total. Like I didn't connect to that many of them in a way that like what I felt like they were all part of getting my children that are now my children into this world. And so I don't know. We all have our own like stuff about it, but I think that's how we make peace with it.
Did you ever read the book Many Lives, Many Masters?
No.
Oh my God. By
Okay.
thing is Brian S. Weiss,
I'm gonna,
Dr. Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters. It's a
okay.
short read. I read it, I mean, like all night long one night. And he was like some total, I don't believe in any, past life regression therapy and like ended up stumbling. And he was a psychiatrist and was working on some client that he couldn't get a breakthrough with. And then tried doing this hypnotherapy and was like specializing it. But then some patient like went too far back into a past life. Anyways, he has a book about, and one of the stories and where you kind of go in between lives and like that there's these babies that
Wow.
we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And what their role is
Mm.
in your journey, just like and it really matches with what you just said and how
I'm definitely gonna read it.
yeah, it's incredible.
So I know you have another Storyectomy baby bumps coming up.
I
Let's
do.
tell everybody about that, and I will shout it from the rooftops when it's time.
I love it. Okay, so that I just closed submissions
Okay.
and now people can get to go to it. If you go on my website, Comedy Reflects Our World, you'll be able to see it. It's coming out in, look at, I told you I'd have it ready. And
I
now,
believe you. You will. Before we stop recording, you will have it ready.
sounds fair. All right, I'm gonna go to my other website to find it. Um, but yeah, it's coming up. Anyways, it's gonna be 10 different storytellers, all about stuff. And it's gonna be, have you heard of maternal mental health now? Do your people know about that?
They do. Kelly was actually a guest on this podcast.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. Maternal Mental Health Now. Nicole was just an MC at their conference day, which was amazing. But yes, we talk about maternal mental health now. And did they get a grant for this one as well?
I did.
That's right. I remember when you were like, if you have something to share about your experience, do it so we can get more money. It's really
Um,
incredible that you get it funded. Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm not coming up with the dates. What do I
Well,
do? It's gonna be in like March. It's not
okay.
even any.
Okay. You'll tell me or I'll look it up and we'll post it before when this goes out. Um, I like to ask everybody if there's like a cliche or a piece of advice or something that you live by, think about often. I like to close out with that. It could be anything.
Hmm. I want to say my husband has a cliche that he wants tattooed on his body, and I want him to not have it.
Okay, what is it?
His cliche comes from his grandmother soothing him because that was his most phenomenal mother figure. And she always said, "This too shall pass."
Mm,
And I don't agree.
hmm.
It doesn't.
Fascinating.
I know. I
Wow.
I can't let go
Yeah,
always. It doesn't
totally.
pass. Sometimes the pain doesn't, it just, there's not the big stuff.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't like that.
totally. I think it's also generational of, oh, don't worry, it'll all work out. You like that people feel the need for themselves to soothe themselves by saying the
Uh-huh.
happy ending is when it all works out, but sometimes the happiness and the magic is when it doesn't work out in the way that someone else might think and that actually does work for you. That's your healing, that's your
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
That's really good.
I know it's like the most not helpful but helpful. Like I'm like, and also it's okay. Like here's the deal. If I lose my husband or my children, I'm never going to be okay. It's just the end of the story for me.
Of course, it's not going to just pass.
It's not going to pass.
Right.
So like, let's stop hiding. For me, at least. You know what I mean? Like, no. So my cliche is no, it's not going to pass.
Hmm. This too shall never pass is yours. You
Yes.
guys could get like matching, but yours is a little different, you know?
Yeah, it's like I'm with stupid. That's
Yes.
exactly it.
Which, by the way, my mother-in-law bought me a t-shirt that says I'm was stupid when I got engaged to my now
Oh,
husband. So you gotta love a good sense of humor, you know?
I love her. She's a
Yes,
keeper.
she's a
That's
keeper.
great.
Thank you
Oh,
so much for being here. I adore you, and I can't wait
I
to see
adore
you again.
you. Let's do it again.
Can't wait. Cool.